in an age of anti-ageism, we need to bring back ageism. All right, and I'll tell you why. No pun intended. So, in one of these pointless meetings, there was an autist LARPing as a normie who, uses that as sort of a lever to be an asshole at his every whim, right? So he's going off at one of these meetings talking about he's upset. And in the corner of that room, one of the older gentlemen is kind of laughing with me and saying like, no biggie, And I was like, yeah, no biggie, whatever it is, right? But, these guys, they make it their mission, kamikaze mission to kind of, be a force for good, if you will. And so he starts going off how he's upset and he's going to take this up to management. And he goes off about that. And, the older gentleman's trying to say something. And the first thing this guy says is he says, shut up, I'm not talking to you. I'm like, oh shit. I'm thinking to myself like, man, what a way to speak to an older gentleman. What a way. And so naturally that got me thinking. I was like, this only happens. Sure, this guy's neurodivergent. Sure, he's an autist, LARPing as a normie. But what that tells me is like, this guy has been taught that age is not a factor. Age does not matter. And to me, tone is everything. And so this guy's tone was belittling, to say the least, to this older gentleman. So obviously, what did the older gentleman do? He crashed out. He crashed out live in real time. And he says, what the don't talk to me like that, with all the expletives attached to them, right? And storms out of the room. And right before then, the meeting had adjourned. So that kind of threw a monkey wrench at it, right? So I dipped out of there as soon as, that happened. And then, the older gentleman, cooled off and, he got it off his chest. But, it just made me think about the fact that this is what happens when we've been socially engineered to think that age does not matter, and how you should speak to everybody the same way, regardless of age. And I think that's one of the worst ways to go about life. Because if you think about it, we had this whole concept of meritocracy for so long, right? And so one way people merit respect is age, right? It's experience. It's the callus of the skin. It's the wrinkles on the forehead. It's the crow's feet near the eyes. And so to go ahead and sidestep and pretend like that doesn't matter, and you're going to talk to someone in that tone as if they're a 12-year-old child, well, you get back what you get back. And sure, the autist did say sorry, but that doesn't excuse his behavior. He's an asshole through and through. And it just made me realize like how important the whole concept of ageism is, right? Because you have to understand when you're talking to somebody, especially if they're older, you have to approach them a certain way. And that only comes from experience. So for this guy, who clearly has no aptitude, right, socially, to be aware of what's happening, he thought he could get away with being an asshole, and too bad he barked up the wrong tree and suffered a fate that was deserving. And I couldn't help but want to laugh, because when I saw his little face, I mean, he was frozen midair, didn't know what to do. was just looking for an out. I mean, he was just frozen. I had never seen him in such a vulnerable state. And frankly, I felt like he deserved it. He had been acting like an asshole for so long that I was like, dude, like, there's no way this guy's going to get away with this sort of behavior for far too long. The thing is, it would have been too predictable had that been I on the other end of his, his antics, right? And I think that I would have been perceived as a bad guy. So I'm glad that it happened to a neutral party, to someone that was playing God in this situation, to suffer the consequences. But nevertheless, ageism, we need to bring back ageism, right? It's one of the isms that I think is sort of overlooked and not discussed as much as it should be. I think it's very important. And I think if you're a young guy, you need to understand and respect that age is a big factor in terms of how you approach people, how you talk to them, how you deal with people. Anyhow, I hope this helps. I'll see you in the next one.